Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 32, Entanglement and Fruitive Activities, text number 8 onwards. Dviparardhavasane ya pralayo brahmanastu te tavadhyasate lokam parasya parachintaka. Worshippers of the Hiranyagarbha expansion of the personality of God remain within this material until the end of two Parararthas, when Lord Brahma also dies. So one dissolution is at the end of Brahma's day, and one is at the end of Brahma's life. Brahma dies at the end of two Parararthas, at which time the entire material universe is dissolved. So Para Artha means two halves. So that is the life of Brahmaji. Persons who are worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, do not directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha. They remain within this universe on Satyaloka or other higher planets until the end of the life of Brahmaji. Then with Brahma they are elevated to the spiritual kingdom. So now there is another incarnation of Vishnu, which was known as Hiranyagarbha. Actually, if we read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it is mentioned there. This incarnation is on Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. So he just remains there because of his affection for Brahmaji. And Brahmaji, every day he worships Hiranyagarbha incarnation. He's just there to accept the prayers of Brahmaji, that's all. The words Parasya Para Chintaka mean always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or being always Krishna conscious. When we speak of Krishna, this refers to the complete category of Vishnu Tattva. Krishna includes the three Purusha incarnations, namely Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu, as well as all the incarnations taken together. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishta. Lord Krishna is perpetually situated with his many expansions such as Ram, Nrsimha, Vaman, Madhusudan, Vishnu, and Narayan. He exists with all his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions. And each of them is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Parasya Parachintaka means those who are fully Krishna conscious. Such persons enter directly into the kingdom of God, the Vaikuntha planets, or if they are worshippers of the plenary portion Garbhodaksha Vishnu, they remain within this universe until its dissolution, and after that they enter Vaikuntha planets. So, different ways Lord Kapil Dev is telling his mother of yoga, we can say, or the different means everybody adopts. So first he discussed about the karmis. They just want to enjoy the sense gratification in this world and they do some karma kanda. They can go up to heavenly planets, but after that they again come down. And then it was, then in the sixth verse, he discussed about detachment and attachment, pravritti marg and nivritti marg, but still one should do his duty. And then the path of illumination through Surya Dev, one can approach Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now he is talking about for the yogis, how yogis, because yogis are the ones who meditate on the form of Lord Vishnu. So they can go through Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Kshirodaksha Vishnu or Hiranyagarbha incarnation, And once they reach Satyaloka to worship Hiranyagarbha incarnation, then after Brahmaji also leaves his body, then they go to Vaikuntha. So different ways of going to Vaikuntha. Kshamambho analanil vyanman indriyartha bhutadipi parivritam pratisanjayushu avyakritam vishati yarhi gunatrayatma kalam parakhyam anubhuya param parah swayambhu. After experiencing the inhabitable time of the three modes of material nature known as two parardhas, Lord Brahma closes the material universe, which is covered by layers of earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, ego, etc., and goes back to Godhead. The word avyakritam is very significant in this verse. The same meaning is stated in Bhagavad Gita in the word Sanatan. This material world is vyakrit, or subject to changes, and it finally dissolves. But after the dissolution of this material world, the manifestation of the spiritual world, the Sanatan Dham, remains. That spiritual sky is called Avyakrit, which does not change. And there the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. When after ruling over the material universe, under the influence of the time element, Lord Brahma desires to dissolve it and enter into the kingdom of God, others then enter with him. So here it is said Lord Brahma goes back to Godhead, but sometimes Brahmaji, he develops some material desires, so then he takes birth again in the material world, and then he starts all over. And according to one philosophy of one place we have studied, that every living entity who falls from the spiritual world into material world, first he takes the position of Brahmaji in that material universe. And then if he is fortunate enough, he goes back, or if he is not, then he takes birth again. Means we all have been in that position. Millions and millions of lifetimes ago, we have been Lord Brahma. And then we fell down from there. Means just imagine the whole population of the universe has had a chance to be Brahmaji, and then they all fell down from that position. Not just of this universe, of every single universe. So from this only we can try to imagine the scope of the universe, the scope of the creation, and how long it's been going on. So we were Brahmaji, so we did our two parardhas, and then the final dissolution took place, and then we got into another body. So it's crazy. It's just completely crazy how long and how many species we must have been through. I'm pretty sure 8,400,000, but I don't know how many times through all the species of life. Evam paritya bhagvantam anupravishta ye yogino jitmaram manaso viraga tena sakam ritam purusham puranam brahm pradhanam upyanti agatabhimana. The yogis who become detached from the material world by practice of breathing exercises and control of the mind reach the planet of Brahma, which is far, far away. After giving up their bodies, they enter into the body of Lord Brahma. And therefore, when Brahma is liberated and goes to the Supreme Personality of God, who is the Supreme Brahman, such yogis can also enter into the kingdom of God. By perfecting the yogic practice, yogis can reach the highest planet, Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. And after giving up their material bodies, they can enter into the body of Lord Brahma. Because they are not directly devotees of the Lord, they cannot get liberation directly. They have to wait until Brahma is liberated. And only then, along with Brahma, they are also liberated. It is clear that as long as a living entity is a worshipper of a particular demigod, his consciousness is absorbed in the thoughts of that demigod, and therefore he cannot get direct liberation or entrance into the kingdom of God, nor can he merge into the impersonal effulgence of the Supreme Personality of God. Such yogis or demigod worshippers are subjected to the chance of taking birth again when there is again creation. Wow. So worshipping a demigod, one can go to the planet of that demigod. Suppose somebody worships Ganeshji or Hanumanji or Shivji, but if he is not elevated or completely pure yet, so from that planet he will fall down again and then start all over. And if one goes to Brahmaji, if he's not eligible yet to go further, so here it is that he can merge in the body of Brahma until Brahmaji leaves. He stays there in the body of Brahma, and if that yogi is still qualified, he can go to the Vaikuntha world, or otherwise he falls down and then continues his journey. It means this purification, what we talk about, get back to Godhead, but we discuss, or Prabhupada has discussed many, many times. It's not that easy. It's not at all easy that we think that just by some inattentive chanting and some reading and some service, we become qualified. And on top of it, when we think we can be envious of others, other devotees, other living entities, and project ourselves as, oh, I'm a pure devotee, we think we can become eligible. No. Look at Brahma, even he has to perform so many services before he gets eligible. And even the yogis who reach Brahma Loka, even they are not eligible. So we are just in the starting point of our devotional service. We have a long way to go to get fully purified, completely purified. Of course, it's a good start, and by mercy of Prabhupada, we are making good progress. Still, we should never ever think that we have become pure devotees. There's only one example of pure devotee, that is Srila Prabhupada. And if you read about him, if you can see his videos and see how he dealt with everything and everybody. And then we can just beg for his mercy. That's all we can do. Text 11. Atatam sarva bhutanam ritpadmeshu kritalayam shutanubhavam sharanam rajabhavena bhavini. Therefore, my dear mother, by devotional service, take direct shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart. So finally, Lord Kapil Dev is also coming. Okay, different processes he explained, yoga, jnana, and karma. But he is saying, if by yoga you go to Brahma Loka, you still have to wait. If you go to demigod Loka, you still have to wait. But even if you go to Brahm Jyoti that we have discussed earlier, there's still chances of falling down. He's finally saying, by devotional service, take direct shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's seated in everyone's heart. That's the easiest process. One can attain direct contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full Krishna consciousness and revive one's eternal relationship with Him as lover, as Supreme Soul, as son, as a friend, or as a master. One can re-establish the transcendental loving relationship with the Supreme Lord in so many ways. And that feeling is true oneness. The oneness of the Mayavadi philosophers and the oneness of Vaishnava philosophers are different. The Mayavadi and Vaishnava philosophers both want to merge into the Supreme. But the Vaishnavas do not lose their identities. They want to keep the identity of lover or a parent or a friend or a servant. So Prabhupada says the Mayavadi and Vaishnava philosophers both want to merge into the Supreme. Of course, Vaishnava, when Prabhupada is saying they want to merge in the Supreme, means they want to be in the spiritual world with the Supreme Lord. We don't lose our individuality, and that's what he says. But the Vaishnavas do not lose their identities. They just get the spiritual bodies. And they want to keep the identity of a lover or a parent or a friend or a servant. In the transcendental world, the servant and master are one. One in the sense they don't merge into each other. They're on a spiritual platform. That is the absolute platform. Although the relationship is servant and master, both the servant and the served stand on the same platform. That is oneness. Lord Kapila advised his mother that she did not need any indirect process. She was already situated in that direct process because the Supreme Lord had taken birth as her son. Actually, she did not need any further instruction because she was already in the perfectional stage. Kapil Dev advised her to continue in the same way. He therefore addressed his mother as Bhamini to indicate that she was already thinking of the Lord as her son. Devhuti is advised by Lord Kapila to take directly to devotion service, Krishna consciousness, because without that consciousness, one cannot become liberated from the clutches of Maya. So ultimately, Lord Kapil Dev is calling her Bhamini. Bhamini means my dear mother, means she was already thinking of Krishna or Lord Kapil Dev, because that was his son. That was her son. And so through Mother Devhuti, Lord Kapil Dev is telling us all. Just adopt the simple process of devotion service. Think of the Supreme Lord, act in the devotion service. That's all. Text 12 through 15. Adhyasthir charanam yog vedagarbha saharshipi yogeshwara kumaradhya siddhar yog pravartake bhed drishtyaabhimanena nisangenapi karmana kartitvat sat gunam brahma purusham purusharishvam samsritya punah kale kale neshwar murtina jate gun vyati kare yatha purvam jayate Aishwaryam parameshtham cha te api dharma vinirmitam nishevya punarayanti gunavyati kare sati. My dear mother, someone may worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a special self-interest. But even demigods such as Lord Brahma, great sages such as Sanat Kumar, and great munis such as Marichi have to come back to the material world again at the time of creation. When the interaction of the three modes of material nature begins, Brahma, who is the creator of this cosmic manifestation, and who is full of Vedic knowledge, and the great sages who are the authors of the spiritual path and the yoga system come back under the influence of the time factor. They are liberated by their non-fruitive activities and they attain the first incarnation of the Purusha. But at the time of creation, they come back in exactly the same forms and positions as they had previously. That Brahma becomes liberated is known to everyone, but he cannot liberate his devotees. Demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot give liberation to any living entity. As it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, only one who surrenders unto Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can be liberated from the clutches of Maya. Brahma is called Adya Sthira Charana. He is the original, first created living entity. And after his own birth, he creates the entire cosmic manifestation. He was fully instructed in the matter of creation by the Supreme Lord. Here he is called Vedagarga, which means that he knows the complete purpose of the Vedas. He is always accompanied by such great personalities as Marichi, Kashyap, and the 7 great sages, as well as by great mystic yogis, the Kumaras, and many of the spiritually advanced living entities. But he has his own interest, separate from the Lord's. Bheda Drishtya means that Brahma sometimes thinks that he is independent of the Supreme Lord, or he thinks of himself as one of the 3 equally independent incarnations. Brahma is entrusted with creation, Vishnu maintains, and Rudra, Lord Shiva, destroys. The 3 of them are understood to be incarnations of the Supreme Lord in charge of the 3 different material modes of nature. But none of them is independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here the word Bheda Drishtya occurs because Brahma has a slight inclination to think that he is as independent as Rudra. Sometimes Brahma thinks that he is independent of the Supreme Lord, and the worshipper also thinks that Brahma is independent. For this reason, after the destruction of this material world, when there is again creation by the interaction of the material modes of nature, Brahma comes back. So even at Satyaloka, even at Brahmaloka, at the position of Lord Brahma, there is a chance of falling down. Because he thinks he is independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is independent or he wants to be independent. And he thinks of himself as one of the 3 equally independent incarnations. He thinks he is Lord Rudra. He is independent as Rudra or Shiva. Lord Shiva has a different position. He is not in Jiva Tattva or in Vishnu Tattva. He has his own Shankar, Shiva Tattva. And that's not a position also, that's a person. But Brahmaji, it's a position. So, but that position is, of course, very exalted, the topmost position in this universe, and very close to the Supreme Lord. So close that the Supreme Lord, as Hiranyagarbha, is always present at his Brahmaloka. But still there is a chance that he develops this Bheda Drishtya or independent thinking. So then he also falls down. He takes, and that's what Prabhupada said, for this reason, after the destruction, Brahma comes back when there is again the creation takes place. Although Brahma reaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a first Purusha incarnation, Mahavishnu, who is full with transcendental qualities, he cannot stay in the spiritual world. So after this universe is dissolved, we also get a chance to go and stay within the body of Mahavishnu. He is a spiritual person. His spiritual world is there. We are there with him. But even though we are there with him, we don't develop bhakti or surrender towards him. Then we come back. The specific significance of his coming back may be noted. Brahma and the great rishis and the great master of yoga, Shiva, are not ordinary living entities. They are very powerful and have all the directions of mystic yoga. But still they have an inclination to try to become one with the Supreme. And therefore they have to come back. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is accepted that as long as one thinks that he is equal with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is not completely purified or knowledgeable. In spite of going up to the first Purusha Avatar, Mahavishnu, after the dissolution of this material creation, such personalities again fall down or come back to the material creation. It's a great fall down on the part of impersonalists to think that the Supreme Lord appears within a material body and that one should therefore not meditate upon the form of the Supreme but should meditate instead on the formless. For this particular mistake, even the great mystic yogis or great stalwart transcendentalists also come back again when there is creation. All living entities other than the impersonalist and monist can directly take to devotion service in full Krishna consciousness and become liberated by developing transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such devotional service develops in the degrees of thinking of the Supreme Lord as Master, as friend, as son, and at last as lover. See, Prabhupada, he carefully avoids the Shantras. He says, Dasiras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalya, and Madhuriras. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disregarded the Shantras. He said, no, that there is no, in Shantras like a flute or peacock or a deer in Golok Vrindavan, that ras, it is a valid ras, valid mellow, but there is no proper interaction, just like in that ras. So Mahaprabhu, he said, let's only talk about the four rasas. So these distinctions in transcendental variegatiousness must always be present. So devotional service, that's what Kapil Dev is speaking again about devotion. That is the safest way possible. And let's make progress on that path only. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so we'll stop here and let's discuss. So Maushami, what happened?